Yo, what is up? Welcome to the first episode of German Every Day. Um, so I'm going to talk a little bit about what that means and what you can expect from this, series. So I have been always kind of a fan of language learning, but I've uh, never, I'm not fluent in another language. I am from Texas, so I grew up around Spanish, and I actually learned a decent chunk of Spanish um, in working retail and just like around me and stuff. It's funny. I think my Spanish pronunciation is like one of my better like pronunciations, just because when you grow up hearing a language, even though I didn't speak it, I kind of the phonetics are kind of like pretty close to home, I guess. Anyway, in high school, I studied German for 2 years. Actually, 3 years. I retook German too, even though I could have taken German three, just because I didn't feel like I had as strong of a grasp on it as I maybe should have. Looking back, I don't know if that was the best idea. I kind of feel like maybe I should have just taken German three, but whatever. And then in college, I took 2 semesters of Japanese and spent I've spent some time learning both German and Japanese in my free time since then, with a bunch of breaks and stuff in between. So um, I think German is definitely my best language, but I'm still way behind where I'd like to be. And that's one reason why I'm going to start this series, is so I can kind of chronicle um, uh, my progress and the things that I'm working on, and hopefully it will be interesting to other people. I'm sure I'm not the only person that struggles kind of with learning a language, especially in the States, where it can be, I think, quite difficult to learn a language other than Spanish, or if you're lucky enough to maybe have some friends or family that speak another language. But most likely, for many languages, it's like quite hard, I find, to um, to really learn the language. Now, there's a lot, like, to really get experience in speaking. Now, there's a lot of like resources out there now. Obviously, we are inundated with tools. Um, and we have all these apps and other things that we can use to like you know learn, like directly speak with other native speakers. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of those strategies that I employ for myself and will probably continue to employ in one way or another. One thing that I have used for a while now is something called italki. And they're not a sponsor or anything, and there are other versions of this kind of product out there. But italki basically allows you to pay some amount. The teacher kind of sets their amount to have 30-minute, 45-minute, hour-long sessions with people who teach languages. So for a while, I was doing 1 or 2 hours every week with a German teacher, and I think that has been really, really helpful. I still, you know, am nowhere near fluent, but it is, I definitely would recommend people get. Um, I felt like it was important for me to get more speaking practice in, because at the very least, even if it goes poorly, which with the right teacher, it should never go poorly, because they should be able to meet you where you're at and kind of help you. But with italki, you get a lot of like very casual teachers who are not really teachers. They're kind of like, um, they're just like, maybe like a college student or somebody who's trying to make some extra money in their spare time. They're called like community tutors. And then you have like actual professional teachers. And usually the price between those two is going to be different. You might pay, $40 an hour or more with like a professional teacher, and you might pay $20 for like a community tutor. Um, and I've definitely had different like levels of good and bad experiences, because some teachers are just not ready to teach. Like, a lot of native speakers don't know grammar, right? So they're not going to be able to necessarily teach grammar. Like if you ask like an English speaking person, what is the direct object or what is the nominative case of English or whatever, whatever the case may be, when to use a versus and, when to use they versus them. I mean, they might have some kind of intuition about it, or like they might, know how themselves because they're a native speaker. They don't necessarily know how to speak that language. So that's something they don't know how to teach it. I mean, so that's something that you have to look out for on italki. So anyway, I'm going to keep using italki, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to like kind of record that and put that up here, but I will see what I can do. At the very least, I will recount my experiences using it. Um, Other than that, I need to learn new vocabulary. Obviously, it's kind of a problem. I oftentimes, don't know the word for something, especially like the verb. Um, so I will be kind of, doing conversational practice, writing sentences and stuff on other apps to get corrections. And I will also be learning, trying to learn new vocabulary, just kind of going through for a verb, I might do the, ich, ich heiße, du heißt, wir heißen. Like I might just go through the conjugations and the past perfect and try to kind of just get that basic knowledge down of that memorization down of that vocabulary, and then I might try to write something with it, and I'll be talking about that. Another thing that I'm going to focus a lot on, at least for now, is I really struggle with German verb order or word order. Um, Again, I'm not like a linguist, but my impression is that that's one of the main differences between English and German, is that you have this kind of more complicated word order, where there's like these rules for when the verbs go to the end. So one thing I'm working on right now actually is the use of the word weil, which means something like because. And I think one theme of my learning going forward is going to be really trying to learn these connecting words that change the word order, like weil and deshalb, and just any kind of connecting words that help form like compound sentences or compound ideas, because obviously there's like a limit to what you can express, or how well you can express things if you can't make compound sentences. And if you make compound sentences in German, you have to learn this kind of like verb order thing. Now, how much German is there actually going to be in these videos? Well, that's a great question. I want to include more and more German as I get better and more confident in the language. But for now, a lot of these kind of might be more like vlogs that include a little bit of what I'm learning in German, but I certainly am not good enough at German to narrate the whole thing. So if you're looking for some kind of native speaker who's already like great at German, or somebody who's already fluent, that's not what this is going to be about. This is going to be more about a journey of somebody who has, a lot of interests, a job and a career and stuff, but who also wants to achieve ideally some kind of level of fluency in a language eventually. I don't expect, really, in my life, I don't think I will ever be like a native speaker. That's not really my goal. But my goal, which by the way, goals is something that a lot of language teachers will ask you about. My goal, if I had to pick one arbitrarily, somewhat arbitrarily, other than just like be able to have a conversation, which is obviously a big goal, is to be able to read like German literature and books and things like that. One of my favorite books I've ever read is Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse, and I want to be able to read that. That would be like my dream if I could read that in the native German. I'm sure that is extremely hard, but if I have to set a North Star, I think that would probably be it. Anyway, I think that's good for some background. There will definitely be more background about me and things going forward. I'm going to now talk about some German, some specific things that I've been working on. For one, I've been learning the verb erreichen, which I believe means something like to reach. and I think it can also mean sort of like to accomplish, maybe. Um, so, ich erreiche, du erreichst, es erreicht, wir erreichen, ihr erreicht, sie erreichen. Um, and that is the past perfect is habe erreicht or hast erreicht. Um, so I forgot what you call it, but the participle is erreicht. And I'm sure that I'm again. This is another hard thing for me is the pronunciation. Funnily enough, out of all the languages that I've studied at all, which are basically just Spanish, German, and Japanese, I think the German is my worst pronunciation, which is kind of funny because it's in theory the closest to English, but I actually find Japanese pronunciation to be easier. And there's some reasons that I think that that's true, but I won't go into it right now. I haven't actually heard a German person say this word. I've only like read it, so I don't know how soft the ch is. Erreich, ich erreiche. So anyway, and then I have this sentence that I've written. Ich muss jeden Tag Sport machen, weil ich meine Ziele erreichen will. And so that basically means I must, I need to exercise every day or do sports every day because I want to reach my goals. Weil ich meine Ziele erreichen will. So that that also shows the kind of verb order thing that I've talked about earlier, which is weil, I believe, moves when you use it in that connecting way, because I need to reach my goals, or I want to reach my goals, the weil ich meine Ziele erreichen will, so the verb actually will, which is a modal verb, which is why it has the erreichen, goes to the end. So that I like that sentence because it's a new word that I'm learning. Erreichen, and it also helps me practice that connecting thing. Another big weakness of mine, learning languages is so humbling, is just I've definitely slacked on learning the der die das for verbs, and so I'm really trying to like slowly learn that as I learn new nouns. But I assume I'm going to screw that up a lot. Anyway, that's it for the first episode of Daily German Every Day. Leave a comment if you're also learning German, or let me know what you think. And I will hopefully be posting these every single day. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.